Feel the pressure of this quiet reality upon your own sense of self. You are a point of quiet stillness in a current that is carrying everything back to its origin. There is no need to hold on. In our reality, we must constantly grasp at moments because we know that once they pass, they become harder to reach, harder to feel. But here, the weight of that effort is lifted. Imagine your own memories, not as things that fade into a softer focus with each passing year, but as images that quietly sharpen, becoming more vivid, more perfect. The details of a long-ago morning, the precise color of the sky above you, the exact angle of the light that fell upon your hand. These are not whispers carried on the wind of time. They are perfect, still points of light, waiting patiently to be recalled in their entirety. To exist here is to experience perfect retention. You do not fear loss, because loss is merely a temporary state of dispersal, soon to be corrected by the great, gentle tide. The past is not behind you. It is an ever-present, quiet possibility, waiting just at the edge of the present moment to be made whole again. This removes the anxiety of becoming, of the need to rush forward. Because when time flows back toward order, the most valuable thing you can do is simply be. There is no urgency, no rushing toward a conclusion, because every conclusion is merely the beginning of a magnificent return. You can feel yourself settling into this deep stability, the sense of belonging that comes from knowing the universe itself is holding you and everything you have ever been. It is the profound peace of being perfectly small, yet entirely necessary to the whole. You are not moving toward an ending. You are a crucial thread in a silent, beautiful reweaving. Let the peace of this vast, soft retrieval wash over you, sinking deep into your rest. We only know the ache of impermanence, but this world knows only the peace of eternal retrieval. And it welcomes you. There is no past moment you need to mourn. There is no future outcome you need to fear. There is only the soft present pressure of everything being carried gently home. Look up now at the stars above this quiet world. They are magnificent and deeply comforting. In our universe, the fuel of a star burns outward, pushing light and heat away from its core, until only the vast, cold remnant remains. But here, the rule is reversed. The light from the first vast moment of creation is not lost. It is patiently, silently making its way home to be rewoven. The fuel of these stars is not being consumed. It is being quietly, carefully reignited. Imagine the feeling of witnessing a star not burning itself out, but slowly, perfectly accumulating its own radiance. It is the light of existence being gathered, not thrown away. Galaxies here do not rush outward in hurried expansion. They are gently folding back into themselves, like a letter that has been read and is now being sealed again for safekeeping. The speed is vast, but the sensation is one of profound deceleration, of a vast universe breathing in. This is the ultimate expression of anti-entropy, the cosmos itself taking a long, slow, and perfect breath. It is not cold. It is not empty. It is completely full, because nothing has ever been permitted to leave for good. The quiet hum you feel is the sound of infinity gently correcting its course, moving toward a state of constant, gentle perfection. Every particle that has ever scattered, every photon that has ever strayed, is on its long, soft journey back toward the center. And you, resting beneath this canopy of returning light, are at the very heart of this vast, stable moment. You are part of the quiet truth that says, all that is broken is being mended, all that has been lost is being retrieved, and all that has dispersed is being gently, silently made whole again. The stars are like breath held too long, finally being released in a magnificent, slow recombustion. The universe is not expanding into loneliness, it is contracting into comfort. Let this idea settle upon your mind like the softest dust, the promise of a universe that always, always finds its way back. Feel the gentle pressure of the current upon your senses. It is not pushing you anywhere new. It is simply ensuring that where you are is exactly where you are meant to be. The laws of this quiet cosmos are simple. They ask you only to relax your grasp, because the river here flows only one way, inward, toward safety. The quiet truth of this deep rest is that nothing you release is truly gone. It is simply beginning its gentle, soft journey toward perfect retrieval. All energy, all light, all warmth, all memory, softly returning, and you are held completely by this current of profound stillness. You are a small, perfect point of order in a universe that has ceased its rush. Tonight, let us drift toward a world where the vast clockwork of the cosmos runs in reverse, not as a storm, but as a sigh of relief, not as an ending, but as a perfect, gentle return.
We must now learn to perceive time, not with our clocks, but with our senses. Imagine the sensation of sound on this world. In our reality, a sound is a sudden disturbance, a wave that spreads out from its source, losing amplitude until it is absorbed by the air or the distance. It is an action that moves toward silence, a temporary rush. But in this quiet cosmos, sound is not a rush outward, but a careful accumulation inward. When a distant structure settles, or a piece of matter shifts, the sound begins as a vast, gentle echo. This echo does not fade. It slowly condenses, focusing its vibrations, patiently retrieving its own energy, until the sound that began as a faint whisper across the valley slowly, perfectly reforms into the single, quiet click of its origin. The sensation is one of profound stillness, a constant awareness that the world is absorbing its own vibrations, making itself continuously quieter. Even the shadows behave differently here. We know shadows as the absence of light, the spread of darkness where light cannot reach. They grow longer, they spread, they stretch toward the distance. But on this quiet world, shadows are always slowly retreating. As the light is patiently retrieved and focused, the dark spaces shrink, becoming less dominant, less vast. The edges of the shadows soften. They curl inward, drawing themselves back toward the objects that cost them. It is a silent, constant promise that the light will always win, not by force, but by the patient, steady law of its own return. The very concept of effort is reversed here. In our time, it takes effort to hold things together, to maintain organization, to keep chaos at bay. But here, the effort is to scatter. The natural state is to be held perfectly. If you were to gently scatter a handful of soft silver dust across a dark surface, that dust would not simply lie inert. The gentle tide of anti-entropy would begin its slow, silent work, drawing those particles back together toward the perfect shape they once held. This retrieval is the background radiation of this world, not the fading heats of a distant moment, but the constant soft pressure of mending. It is the universe taking immense, uncountable lengths of time to smooth out every wrinkle, to correct every gentle drift, to reclaim every minute loss. This quiet truth extends even to motion itself. An object propelled across the plains does not lose momentum entirely to friction. As the movement dissipates, the gentle current works to restore the energy, subtly nudging the motion back toward its original path. A slow, almost imperceptible correction. The ultimate state of the cosmos here is not chaos. It is a perfect, still stability. A stillness that is not empty, but full of the constant, gentle work of returning. Let this feeling of absolute quiet retrieval settle over you now, removing the need to push or to strive or to hold on. You are resting in a place where the universe itself is holding everything perfectly.
We return now to the stillness within your own mind, resting beneath the canopy of this returning cosmos. Consider the deep human feeling we call longing. It is the soft, quiet ache for something that is just out of reach, a moment that is gone, a connection that has faded. In our forward-moving time, longing often carries a touch of sadness, the grief for what cannot be retrieved. But here, in the current of return, longing is a feeling of immense patient hope. It is the subconscious knowing that what you seek is already on its gentle journey back to you. Your memory is not a library whose books slowly turn to dust. It is a library whose books are constantly being rebound, perfected, their ink refreshed by the gentle current. The image of a face you hold dear, but which has softened with time, here begins to clarify. The edges become sharper, the light in their eyes more perfectly illuminated. You realize that your deepest desire to remember is simply aligning itself with the fundamental Lord of the universe you are resting in. This cosmic principle is not just physical, it is profoundly psychological. It teaches the quietest lesson of all, that to let go is not to lose, but to entrust to the current. You no longer have to grip tight to the passing moment, trying to seal it into the fragile glass of your own recollection. You can release it completely, trusting that the universal tide of anti-entropy will hold that moment for you, perfect and whole, until the gentle time of its return. This reversal of time zero affects the very weight of your existence. It removes the urgency of every choice. In a universe that rushes toward dispersal, every choice feels final. Every action seems to lead to an irreversible consequence, a unique path that can never be walked again. But here, beneath the returning stars, every path taken is simply a beautiful detour. Every moment of scattering is just the preface to an elegant reassembly. There is peace in knowing that your journey, however winding, is never lost to the dark. It is all being gently compiled, every single footfall, every single breath, every single quiet thought. It is the profound sensation of being utterly safe from the tyranny of time. You are protected from the fading, from the crumbling, from the running down. The quietest wish you hold for wholeness, for return, is being mirrored by the entire structure of the cosmos itself. Let this knowledge deepen your rest now, the sense of belonging to a stable, patient, and infinitely mending universe. Your consciousness itself feels like a perfectly polished mirror, reflecting every detail of its past with quiet accuracy. And this is the gentle reward of the current flowing uphill. It grants the gift of perfect, gentle retrieval, not just for light and matter, but for the fragile beauty of being. Sink deeper now into the stillness, held by the memory of everything. We look up again now at the deep vault of the night sky, contemplating the silence of this cosmic reversal. Consider the lifespan of the most immense burning spheres, the stars themselves. In our forward-moving time, the life of a star is a tragic yet magnificent expenditure, an irreversible move from brilliant fusion to cold, dark collapse. But here, this process is merely the longest, slowest part of the breathing cycle. The helium and the carbon, the heavier elements created by the fusion process, are not inert waste products. They are the patient, quiet ingredients, slowly being urged back into the light hydrogen from which they began. This star is not burning out. It is conducting an infinite process of self-correction, a gentle, continuous rebirth. It is the light of existence being gathered, not thrown away. The faint gravitational waves that ripple through this system are not merely moving away into the void, losing their energy across the vast distance. They are quietly condensing, retrieving their strength, their vibration slowly returning to the points of mass that birthed them. The universe in this configuration is perpetually winding its bone clock. Imagine the scale of a spiral galaxy in this light. The arms are not spinning outward toward dispersal and eventual collision with cold, dark matter. They are gently, infinitely folding back upon themselves, a silent, slow rotation inward. It is a movement of profound safety, a colossal mechanism dedicated not to scattering its stars, but to holding them close. When two celestial bodies approach one another in our time, the gravitational interaction is complex, often leading to chaos and eventual separation or catastrophic merging. But here, the interaction is less a collision of forces and more a slow, delicate dance of reconciliation. The energy that is dissipated in the dance is immediately gathered in return to the system, ensuring that the movements are always fluid, always perfect, always returning to a harmonious balance. The very structure of space-time in this quiet pocket is governed by this principle of infinite retention. Space itself is not expanding into a cold void. It is gently, imperceptibly gathering its curvature back towards stillness. This allows the light from the first vast moment of creation to be not lost to the distance, but patiently, silently, making its way home to be rewoven. It is the cosmos in the state of eternal gentle repair. Every fracture, every loss, every moment of heat that dared to escape is now being sought out and carefully, softly retrieved. We are used to a universe defined by the great silence that follows a catastrophe, the stillness after the nova, the cold after the fusion. But this cosmos is defined by the great, gentle silence that precedes the correction, the quiet moment before the return, the deep stillness of perfect anticipation. Let this grand scale of patient retrieval settle upon your mind now. The knowledge that your small, quiet rest is mirrored by the most immense structures in the universe. You are resting in a place where the universe itself is breathing in, never breathing out completely, always retaining, always restoring. The stars are like breath held too long, finally being released in a magnificent, slow recombustion. The universe is not expanding into loneliness, it is contracting into comfort. Sink deeper now into the soft, unmoving center of this vast, gentle return. Here there is no need for worry about the final outcome, because the only outcome is the peace of absolute quiet retrieval. You are held completely by this current of profound stability. Let us rest a moment longer with this feeling of deep, quiet retrieval. Consider the texture of time on this world. In our reality, time often feels rough. It abrades against us, wearing down the sharp edges of the present moment as it moves us forward. But here, time has the softest possible texture, like perfectly smooth, cold water, offering no friction, demanding no effort. The moments do not rush past you. They simply settle in, gently, perfectly. There is no sense of being pushed, only the feeling of being softly surrounded. This texture of quiet retrieval extends to the weight of your inner landscape. In the cosmos we know, existence often carries the weight of accumulation, the burden of the past moments, the unfulfilled promises, the scattered energies that could not be held. But here, the weight is constantly being lifted. The quiet burden of a past mistake, the gentle sadness of a word left unsaid. These things are not compounded. They are being gently disassembled, their scattering corrected by the soft, universal current. The energy used in worry, the effort spent in anxiety, is not simply dissipated into the void of exhaustion. It is being drawn back into a calm reserve, slowly, patiently, restoring the initial perfect stillness of your rest. You realize that to belong here is to be relieved of the very labor of persistence. You do not need to persist in remembering. You do not need to persist in holding your form against the flow. The universe itself has taken over the task of persistence, dedicating its immense, silent power to your wholeness. Feel the deep, quiet comfort of being entirely maintained by the laws of physics. The fragile beauty of a moment is not fleeting. It is a fixed, quiet point, always available for perfect observation. Imagine holding a memory not as a fading photograph, but as a perfect, glowing crystal whose internal light is constantly being replenished. Every facet of the past is being sharpened, every hue intensified, every quiet reflection made clear again. This is the ultimate reversal of loss, the knowing that nothing you have treasured has been allowed to be diminished. It is all being safely compiled. Every single footfall, every single breath, every single quiet thought. This perfect retention leads to a profound sense of trust. You can surrender the conscious effort of the day, letting your mind drift entirely free, because the current of this quiet cosmos has promised that it will return everything to its original, perfect state of order, including the deep, peaceful stillness of your sleep. The most stable thing in this reality is not mass, but calm. Sink deeper now into the stillness, held by the memory of everything being gently, perfectly retrieved. Look up once more into the quiet vault above this world. The light you see is old, immensely old, but it is not tired. It is the light from ancient stellar birth, traveling to you not to vanish upon impact, but to quietly re-illuminate the present moment. Imagine the sensation of seeing light that is arriving with an increasing sense of purpose, growing sharper, more coherent as it nears its destination. The universe here is dedicated to the constant, subtle work of correcting the vast diffusion that defines our time. And this grand, slow correction is mirrored perfectly in the stillness of your own rest. When you feel yourself drifting, not away from consciousness, but deeper into the stillness, you are aligning with this cosmic law. You are allowing your own small energies to cease their frantic dispersal and begin their patient, slow return to center. The energy used in the day's work, the thought wasted on the unnecessary decision, it is all being gently compiled. It is the knowledge that the current which governs the collapse and rebirth of galaxies is the very same current that is soothing the tension in your own hand. There is no difference in its patience or its certainty between the scale of a star and the scale of a single breath. Both are being urged back toward a state of perfect, unmoving order. This is the ultimate expression of cosmic kindness, a universe that does not demand effort, but invites surrender. Feel the deep comfort of the universal certainty that nothing escapes the gentle law of return. Even the concept of weariness is temporary here. The physical fatigue you carry is simply the energy of dispersal slowly being gathered and drawn back, ready to be remade into quiet, calm reserve. You are resting in a place where the exhaustion you feel is not a final destination, but a gentle preparation for perfect rest. Consider the dark space between the stars in this quiet cosmos. It is not cold. It is not empty. It is full of the potential of reconciliation. The molecules that drifted away from the nebulae, the lightest whispers of gas, are slowly being coaxed back into the cloud. They are not lost to the immense vacuum. They are held in a state of quiet, slow expectation, awaiting their moment of reassembly. This vast, patient retrieval is the background silence of this entire quadrant of space. A silence that is not the absence of sound, but the perfection of sound, fully condensed, ready for its quiet, perfect release. And as you listen to the stillness, you feel your own quiet thoughts cease their random scattering. They begin to align themselves gently, flowing back toward a single point of absolute calm. The concerns of the past are not forgotten. They are simply being made clearer, prepared for the quiet moment of perfect resolution when the light of memory is fully returned. Let the peace of this infinite maintenance settle upon you now, the knowledge that you are a perfect, necessary part of a vast, gentle correction, a universe that is constantly, tenderly drawing all things back toward their perfect, quiet origin. The motion here is immense, but the sensation is one of profound, unmoving peace. The peace of knowing that the cosmos is breathing in for eternity. You are held perfectly, absolutely, by this current of profound stability. Look deeper now into the fabric of this quiet space, not at the objects, but at the stillness between them. It is here that the great work of the cosmos is silently underway. Imagine space itself not as a vast, empty canvas, but as a massive, infinitely patient loom. In our reality, the threads of existence are constantly being stretched thin, pulled apart by distance and speed, worn down by friction and time. But in this field of returning energy, the threads are being quietly gathered, retensioned, and woven back together. Every photon that leaves a star is a bright thread cast out, which is then gently, patiently pulled back into the weave. There is no tearing here, only a continuous, quiet mending. This loom ensures that the tapestry of this reality never frays, never loses its pattern. The elements themselves, the very dust of creation, are not being scattered and diluted. They are being separated only to be gathered again in perfect proportion, ready for the next iteration of quiet stellar fusion. The silence you feel is the sound of the loom working, immense in its scale, yet utterly gentle in its movement. No loud clatter, no frantic speed, only the slow, sure drawing in of every thread. And this perfect, gentle reweaving extends to your own inner quiet. Your stream of consciousness, the bright, complex threads of your waking thoughts have been cast out during the day, spread thin by attention and distraction. But now they are being softly drawn back to the central thread of your being. The frayed ends are being smoothed, the tangles quietly worked free, the disparate elements gently reintegrated. You are resting in a space where your mind is not permitted to scatter itself into chaos. The very structure of the cosmos is holding the quiet tension of your focus, making sure that every part of your inner self is being brought back into alignment. This is the peace of perfect coherence, the certainty that every element of your being is working not against the current, but with the grand, slow tide of return. Feel the deep comfort of knowing that the energy spent in every word you spoke, in every action you took, is being accounted for and gently restored. You are not moving toward a depletion of self, but toward a state of profound, quiet replenishment. The loom of the cosmos is making you whole again, slowly, perfectly, silently. It is the promise that the pattern of your rest will be the most perfect pattern of all, unbroken, complete, and infinitely gentle. Sink deeper now into the stillness, held by the memory of everything being gathered and perfectly rewoven. Let us allow ourselves now to feel the strange and beautiful sensation of living in a time that moves not away from its origin, but toward it. This reversal is not a moment of shock or chaos. It is the profound stillness of ultimate equilibrium. Imagine looking out at a horizon and watching the gentle smoke of a distant fire, slowly, softly condensing, drawing its fine particles back toward the heat source that released them. It is a visible, elegant process of unscattering, the quiet erasure of dispersal. The arrow of time here is not moving backward into the past as we understand it, but moving toward the most stable, ordered state possible, a state of infinite, quiet perfection. This means the light from the most energetic events, the birth of stars, the distant immense collisions, is not lost to the vast dark. It is patiently, quietly making its way back to the 0 point, the moment of highest order, to be re-released in perfect sequence. This knowledge changes the way you rest. You are not resting against the rush of time. You are resting within its most stable, quiet configuration. Feel the support of a universe that is constantly perfecting its own existence, correcting every minute drift, resolving every tiny imbalance. This affects your inner world as well, the flow of your quiet internal consciousness. The worries and complex thoughts that scatter your focus are akin to that dissipating smoke. They are being gently nudged by the fundamental pressure of this anti-entropic flow back toward the stillness of pure awareness. The effort required to hold a single, calm thought in our world is immense. Here, the natural state of mind is profound, deep stillness, the effortless return to the quiet center of attention. You are being relieved of the need to chase your thoughts or to grasp at the fading images of the day. Everything that was released is now softly, continuously being brought back to quiet order. Even the passage of cosmic heat, the energy that drives the processes of our forward-moving universe, behaves differently here. The cold of deep space is not expanding its territory. It is retreating, slowly yielding its influence to the gathering warmth. The tiny, distant pockets of heat that have diffused across the immensity are being drawn back toward the core masses, patiently restoring the thermal equilibrium. It is the gentle work of the cosmos making itself perfectly warm, perfectly stable, perfectly whole. This profound movement of return is the deepest comfort of this quiet cosmos. It is the assurance that no energy is ever truly expended, only borrowed for a time, and then silently, perfectly brought back to source. Let your rest be absorbed by this slow, magnificent retrieval, sinking deeper and deeper into the quiet, unmoving center of this vast, gentle correction. You are held completely, absolutely, by this current of profound stillness, where the arrow of time has chosen the path of perfect return. Let us consider the source of all this patience, this quiet certainty of return. We might imagine this isolated pocket of space not as a flowing river, but as a vast, magnificent reservoir. In our world, the energy used to create light, to drive motion, to fuel life itself, is constantly being drawn out of the system, depleted, moved downstream toward the great void. But here, the energy that is momentarily spent is not permitted to escape the confines of this deep, quiet pool. It is instantly, slowly being drawn back to the center, replenishing the potential moment after moment for eternity. This reservoir holds all the light that has ever been radiated, all the kinetic force that has ever been released, all the heat that is ever dispersed. It is a silent, infinite storage of absolute possibility, maintained by the tireless law of anti-entropy. The quiet hum you feel is the sound of this reservoir being perpetually filled, never permitted to run dry, never suffering the slightest loss of potential. This truth profoundly impacts the feeling of potential within yourself. In our time, we worry about the wellspring of our own energy, the limit of our resources, the inevitable depletion of our inner strength. But here, as you rest within the current of absolute return, your quiet potential is also being perfectly replenished. The energy you spent thinking, the mental effort of decision, the simple metabolic activity of being live, it is all being gently restored to the reservoir of your own being, ready for the quiet return of a new cycle. You are relieved of the need to conserve your strength or to worry about running low, because the universe itself has adopted the role of your tireless steward, ensuring the perfect, calm replenishment of all you have expended. Feel your deep rest absorbing this assurance, the certainty that your inner quiet is not a fragile state, but the most stable, most powerfully maintained state in this entire reality. You are resting in a place where the exhaustion you feel is merely a temporary fluctuation, already being gently corrected. This universal reservoir teaches the deep peace of absolute trust. You can surrender the conscious effort of holding your structure together, because the reservoir's infinite potential is now flowing through you. It is maintaining the perfect order of your rest, mending the subtle dissipations of the day, gathering back every ounce of scattered focus. This profound movement of return means that nothing you invest, nothing you give, is ever truly gone. It is simply passed into the safekeeping of the reservoir, waiting to be returned to you in its most perfect, quiet form. Let your consciousness sink entirely into this deep, calm pool, held by the certainty of infinite supply. You are a perfect still point in a system that ensures the eternal, quiet renewal of all things.
Let your attention now drift entirely inward, to the quiet, dark spaces behind your eyes. Even here, the grand law of anti-entropy is performing its silent, gentle work. Consider the nature of your dreams in this cosmos of return. In our forward-moving time, dreams are often chaotic, fragments of the day and night, scattering themselves into strange, beautiful, and often fleeting patterns. When you wake, the intricate texture of the dream begins immediately to fade, dissolving into the morning light. But here, the reverse is true. As you sink into deeper rest, your dreams do not scatter. They quietly coalesce. The disparate images and feelings begin to draw themselves back together, aligning into perfect, stable forms. The most quiet, subtle suggestion of a forgotten moment from the day is gently retrieved and woven back into its true place. The dream state itself becomes an exercise in absolute organization, a slow, patient process of psychological mending. You are resting in a space where the unconscious mind is not permitted to break its own patterns, but is constantly being urged toward clarity, toward wholeness. Feel the deep, quiet comfort of your own mind performing this perfect, natural retrieval, without effort, without strain. This allows the moments of the past that felt scattered or incomplete to be silently corrected. The sharp edges of regret, the dull ache of misunderstanding, these are being softly drawn back to the moment of their origin. Not to be relived, but to be perfected in the light of quiet rest, made whole and peaceful once more. The universe, in its dedication to order, is offering you the chance for flawless closure, a gentle smoothing of every inner ripple. Look out again now at the grand, overarching reality, at the slow folding of the spiral arm above you. That vast, magnificent movement of returning stars is simply the largest reflection of the quiet mending happening within your own consciousness. The stardust and the inner quiet are governed by the same benevolent principle, the absolute law of return to stillness. The energy of the light that travels back to its core and the emotional energy that settles back to your heart are identical in their purpose. Both are seeking the absolute, quiet perfection of the origin point, the moment before the scattering began. This makes your sleep not an escape from reality, but a profound alignment with its deepest, most stable truth. You are resting in the precise center of the universal mechanism of return, where the gentle tide is washing everything clean, bringing everything back to its perfect initial state. Let your mind now drift without boundary, without concern for fading. The current of this quiet cosmos has promised that it will return everything to its original, perfect state of order, including the deep, peaceful stillness of your rest.
V and IV. Interlaced imagery. The echo of forever. Massive expansion. The pace remains exactly the same, 110 WPM, soft, slow, British accent. 2-second pauses between sentences. We have felt the gentle inward flow of time and the immense quiet work of the cosmic loom. Now let us listen to the unique sound of this reality, the constant soft pressure of return. If the movement of our universe is defined by the single spreading wave of a sound that never returns, this universe is defined by the echo of forever. Every sound that is made here, every subtle vibration of matter, is not merely dissipated into silence. It is beginning an immediate, slow journey back to its point of origin, a quiet, constant retrieval of its own wave front. This means that the silence here is not empty. It is saturated with the potential of imminent return, a quiet hum of all sounds being constantly recalled. Imagine the subtle sound of a small stone shifting on the ground. In our time, that sound is a quick rush of energy, instantly lost to the air. But here the sound wave, having spread across the plains, begins its slow, patient retraction, drawing its energy back toward the exact spot where the stone settled. It is an imperceptible process, yet absolutely certain, and its existence creates a deep, profound stillness. The atmosphere itself acts as a massive, silent filter, catching every stray vibration and gently recentering it. This constant quiet mending of sound means that the surrounding air is never chaotic, never loud. It is always resting in a state of acoustic perfection. And this eternal, gentle echo profoundly influences the quiet of your own mind. The inner noise of the day, the scattered fragments of conversation, the repetitive loops of thought. These are the momentary sounds of dispersal, but now they are being softly silenced, not by effort, but by the universal law of return. Feel the profound peace of a consciousness that is not generating new noise, but is simply listening to its own energies being quietly, perfectly gathered back to stillness. The echo of forever is not loud. It is the deepest assurance that nothing is truly lost to the noise, only borrowed, and now silently retrieved. Now look again at the light of the returning stars. When a star radiates its light in this cosmos, the light wave that leaves the core is not simply spreading into infinite space. It travels with the quiet, inherent promise of its own recoherence. The light does not spread into a faint, diluted haze. It travels vast distances, and yet maintains the integrity of its initial brilliance. The photons are subtly nudged by the field of anti-entropy, guided back toward the perfect original beam. This means that the distant light you see is not dim from the journey. It is arriving with the clarity and fullness of the moment it was born. It is the light that reminds you that beauty does not fade. It only travels and then returns whole. This light is the ultimate expression of permanence, the assurance that even the most fleeting event is being held in absolute, perfect clarity. Feel the softness of this light upon your skin, a gentle warmth that is not depleting its source, but is patiently, continuously restoring it. It is the warmth of the universal reservoir, a heat that is never spent, only circulated with infinite quiet grace. The subtle colors of the nebulae above you are not the scattered dyes of a fading cloud. They are the colors of a vast celestial painting, being continually corrected and perfected, its hues made brighter, its composition made clearer, with every passing moment of returning time. Even the motion of the planetary rings around this quiet world suggests this truth. The fine particles that make up the rings are not slowly grinding against one another, wearing down through friction and loss. They are moving with a quiet, perfect fluidity. The energy lost to minute friction is instantly retrieved by the anti-entropic flow. The rings orbit in a state of eternal, gentle correction, never permitted to degrade, never allowed to scatter their magnificent dust into the void. The entire mechanism is a majestic display of infinite maintenance, a constant swift adjustment that ensures the perfect order of all components, from the largest celestial body to the smallest grain of ring dust. This is the deep, quiet rhythm of this reality, a slow, constant movement inward,
toward coherence, toward stillness, toward the most absolute possible state of order. Let your own small movements, the subtle churning of your body as you rest, the soft rhythm of your breath, align themselves with this vast, gentle process. Your own inner energy is being drawn back to the center, your thoughts returning to quiet coherence, your memory settling into their clearest, most perfect form. The echo of forever is the sound of absolute certainty. It is the promise that every quiet desire for peace, every deep wish for resolution, is being perfectly matched by the immense benevolent laws of the cosmos. You are resting in a place where the universe has guaranteed its eternal perfection, and in that promise you find your own deep, quiet rest. Sink deeper now into the stillness, held by the memory of everything being gathered and returned to its perfect, quiet origin. You are held completely, absolutely, by this current of profound stability.